In this video, we're going to review the basic editing commands in VI. We're going to add to that, we're going to add some more advanced editing. As we go along the way, we're going to document the commands we're talking about. So at the end of this, you'll have a text file that's basically a VI quick reference document. I think it's going to be helpful to create the document using VI and learning the commands that we're documenting as we document them. We're going to create a new file. I'm going to call mine VI quickref.txt. You can call it whatever you want. New file. And let's insert. Let's document that as our first command. I is for insert. Let's also add escape for enter command mode. You remember those are kind of the two most important things that we do. We insert, we enter command mode, we go back and forth between the two modes. Now let's do a blank line. And let's make a section called navigation. Let's document our 4 primary navigation commands. We got H, and I'm just hitting a tab between these. So I'm typing H and then a tab. And then this is move 1 space left. And then a J, move 1 line down. And a K is move 1 line up. And L is move 1 space. Let's make an editing section. And we talked about X. X is delete character at cursor. We also talked about DD, which is delete line. And we'll make one more section on saving and quitting. And in there we talked about the :W is save file, :W something like ABC, save as ABC. :Q is quit. :WQ is save and quit. And there's one we didn't talk about, and that is one you'll see a lot of people talk about, especially in VI tutorials. They'll say use ZZ, and that is also save and quit. And it's just another synonym for it. It's actually something I don't ever use. I learned the :WQ, and that's just what I use for saving and quitting. Either one, it really doesn't matter. There's sort of what we talked about before with our basic commands. Let's go ahead and save that file. We'll do the :W and save that file. Let's go up to editing because there's a handy one that we haven't talked about. And that is if I go up to this line and I type an O, you notice what that did. Lowercase o opens a new line below the cursor. And it actually has a buddy, a capital O, opens a new line above the cursor. Now we've kind of fleshed that out a little bit more. Let's use that. We're going to go up here to navigation. We're going to add a few navigation commands. O to open a new line. Capital G is go to last line. 1G, go to first line. And I'm going to put etc. here. I'll explain why in a minute. :7 is go to the 7th line. And I'm going to put an etc. on that one as well. So let's see what those are talking about. Hit escape again to go back to command mode. Let's talk about each one of those in turn. Capital G goes to the last line. I jump right there. 1G goes to the first line. 2G goes to the second line. 7G goes to the 7th line. Similarly, if I do a :9, I go to the 9th line. :1, and I go to the first line. So those two are kind of interchangeable. Number, capital G, or : number return. Either one of those will take you to a specific line in the file. Very handy. We'll talk about 2 more here under navigation. If I do a / and then some text, it will go to the occurrence of that text. And an N will repeat the last search. Let's see that one in action. Let me go to the top of the file, and I'll type /go and hit return. And then next. So you see I just go to each occurrence of the word go. It's a case-sensitive search, like a lot of things are in Unix. And you notice one more thing. When I wrap around the file, it will wrap around and go back to the beginning of the file. And it warns me when it does that. So that's kind of handy. It tells me, essentially, even though it's wrapping around, right there it's telling me you've seen all the occurrences of go that there are to see in this file. 3 more navigations to talk about, and then we will finish out navigation. One that's kind of handy, W will go to the next word. Word is not quite the English definition of word, and we'll see that in a second here. 0 is go to beginning of line, and $ is go to end of line. So let's see those in action. Let's go up here, and if I type W, 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 notice the punctuation characters are counting as words. So when I get to here, the parenthesis is a word, the etc is a word, and the parenthesis is a word. The slash is a word, and then text is a word. So that's where I was saying it's not quite words like you think about them in English, but it's a handy way to move to a specific spot in a line. If I type a 0, it goes to the beginning of the line. If I type a $, I go to the end of the line. And unfortunately, in a screencast, you can't see the thing I'm typing because it isn't echoing on the screen. So I'm trying to make sure I say what it is that I'm typing as I type it. There's a few handy things to talk about here under editing. Let's do this. At the very beginning, we put the insert command, but it's not really like a top of the list command because it's really an editing command. So I'm going to do a DD. We talked about DD is delete the line, but it's really not delete the line. I can come down here and I can type a lowercase p. What happens when I do DD is that line goes into a clipboard, just like when you do a cut on a Windows or a Mac system. I can then paste that line. So a lowercase p will paste after the cursor. So if I've done a whole line, it will paste below the line. If I've done less than a line, it'll go after the cursor. So that's why I say after the cursor. And like with the O, a capital is paste before. So those two kind of have a corollary between each other.